In the eastern region, at a lotus pond, there was a pair of swans happily entwined together. Suddenly, a loud noise rang out, startling the two swans who clung to each other in fear. A figure lying on the ground said, "Damn, I've already reincarnated." A pair of skinny hands began to tremble. This old man named Quan Lam was now extremely panicked, touching his face and exclaiming, "How can my appearance be like this? Just a moment ago, I was still sleeping in math class." He screamed as if unable to accept his current form, shouting loudly, causing the water to ripple. Oh heavens! An 18-year-old man like me who never had a girlfriend, and was about to embrace a beautiful university life. How could I wake up as an old man like this? Quan Lam panicked, placing his hand on the pond and said, "I'm not willing. If I've transmigrated, then at least this body must be the highest realm outside the world." Memories immediately surfaced. This world is the Kunlun realm, where cultivators are revered. Cultivators are ranked in levels: Qi refining, foundation establishment, golden core, nascent soul, spirit transformation, fusion, great vehicle, tribulation crossing, and true immortal. The young figure of Quan Lam appeared. The original owner, Diep Quan Lam, was exceptionally talented and had cultivated to the golden core stage at a young age. Thanks to his outstanding talent, he was chosen as the lord of the Piaomiu Fengquan sect, one of the 6 great sects in Huangchao's eastern region. The stream of memories rewinds to when he was pierced by a ray of light. However, during a purge of evil cultivators, he was assassinated, his dantian destroyed, leading to the complete loss of his cultivation and becoming a cripple. Thus, Quan Lam Den became an old man halfway through. After more than a decade, he became dull-witted, living negatively and giving up, staying high up in the mountains indifferent to the world, until he reached the age of 110. Quan Lam returned to reality. After finishing reading the memories, he trembled, raised his hand away from his forehead, helpless and speechless. Quan Lam leaned on his cane, trembling and screaming for a while, "I am just an ordinary person. Moreover, if calculated by my previous age, wouldn't that mean I could die at any moment I just transmigrated?" Suddenly, he had an idea. "Wait, based on my years of experience writing online novels, if this is a transmigration, there must be a system I still have a chance." Saying that, he firmly placed his cane on the ground. Quan Lam was full of enthusiasm and shouted, "System, your father is here. Why don't you come out and meet me quickly?" However, after some time passed, there was still no sign. Quan Lam stood still, stunned. He was unwilling, and quickly shouted loudly, "Playing hide and seek with me, huh? Hurry up, stop messing around." Quan Lam tried every way to call the system. "System brother, I was wrong. Just kidding earlier, please say something too." He suddenly remembered something. That's right. Then Quan Lam hurriedly rummaged through his clothes. Maybe it wasn't the system storage. Who knows? Maybe it was the old master's ring from the sect. Let me not bully the poor old man a bit. Unexpectedly, he found a ring that looked old. Quan Lam exclaimed joyfully, "Old alchemist, are you inside there?" However, the ring remained motionless without any response. Quan Lam began to panic, and anxiously said, "Old man, stop pretending. I know you are hiding inside there." No sound came out. Quan Lam gradually became impatient. He sadly threw the ring away. Furious, Quan Lam raised his stick high and shouted in frustration, "Old heavenly master," followed by curses. Before he could finish speaking, the sky gradually turned blue. Quan Lam exclaimed in surprise, "Kongzi!" Suddenly, a system notification appeared from above. Measurement check detected the host cursing extremely badly. The system must activate passive mode. Please, host, do not curse and be a civilized person. Seeing this, Quan Lam, with tears and a runny nose, was deeply moved. He hugged the stick and said, "You finally appeared. You are not very decent. I was beginning to suspect this book was going astray. You are mortal now." The system immediately spoke up. The system just woke up, and to make up for the host, the system offers a beginner's gift pack. Would you like to open it? As soon as Quan Lam finished speaking, he eagerly ordered, "Open it for me." The system immediately announced, "Congratulations. The signatory has received a special ability. The stronger you meet, the stronger you become. As long as the signatory confronts anyone with a higher realm than themselves, they will instantly and permanently gain cultivation one level higher than that opponent. Moreover, there are no side effects whatsoever. Quan Lam exclaimed in surprise, "No way. Is that really true? For example, if I am just an ordinary person now," his eyes lit up as he continued, "then if I fight an immortal being," the system immediately replied, "This system does not deceive anyone. Just try it, I guarantee there will be no problem." Hearing that, Quan Lam said joyfully, "But if that's really the case, wouldn't I be invincible? I could always be one level above my opponent. Cultivate all you want." Suddenly, the system announced kindly, reminding the signatory that there was only 1 hour left until the end of their life. Quan Lam, trembling and leaning on his cane, said, "No way, am I really about to die? I have to quickly go down the mountain to find someone and stage a collision to gain cultivation and extend my life." From the mountain he leaned on his cane and slowly descended the steps. Quan Lam, trembling and exhausted, said, "Very well, you said the heavenly demon is just waiting on the mountain to cause trouble. Now I am all bothered by you." The system then kindly reminded the signatory that there were 35 minutes left between life and death here. He immediately interrupted, "Stop urging me like a funeral procession, my old bones won't make it in time." Suddenly, Quan Lam looked up at the mountain peak, shrouded by ominous purple clouds, accompanied by thunder and lightning. He asked in surprise, "What's going on? Are those pitch-black monsters demon beasts?" From the clouds descended a group of people led by the sect leader Hu Nian, who shouted loudly, "How dare Tiu Ngait cause trouble for our Huin Thean sect?" Suddenly, a pair of wings opened on the opponent's side. It was the Demon King. He angrily said, "The shameless Huin Thean sect did not expect this Demon King to still be alive. Today, I will definitely kill you all." On the side of Haiyan Thean sect, including Hunian, Thean Twite, and CTR Hunian, took the lead and challenged, "So it's your beast. Back then, you massacred Lei Kingdom and I severely wounded you, throwing you down a 10,000 zong cliff. Now you're lucky to be alive, and still dare to seek revenge, bringing along these beasts." Finishing his words, the Demon King immediately spread his wings wide, the sky darkened and turned red. He madly charged forward and said, "Is this enough for you?" Hunian and his group were alarmed. "What? You have broken through to the nascent soul stage?" CTR saw this and said anxiously, "Sect leader, what should we do? A nascent soul powerhouse is not an opponent we can resist." Hunian immediately retorted, "Even so, we cannot just stand by and watch." Then he and his comrades immediately charged forward. Hunian shouted loudly, "At this point, we can only fight a desperate battle to protect the Huin Thean sect." On the other side, the Tio King and his henchmen also began to rush forward. He shouted a challenge to those scoundrels, "Come on, all of you, this king will kill off all these stinky Taoist priests." Then the two sides immediately started arguing, neither willing to back down. From above, watching the fight, Quan Lam Ut shouted, "Hey, someone come and hit me. Hurry up and hit me." The system once again displayed a notification. The kind system reminds the host that there are only 20 minutes of life left. Please quickly take measures to save yourself. Hearing this, Quan Lam began to panic and screamed in despair. "No way. It's so soon I have to reincarnate? They are too far from me, they can't hear me at all." He trembled step by step on the stairs, sighing, "If I go down the mountain now, it's probably too late. I can only use this move." On the other side, the Demon King seemed to be gaining the upper hand. He arrogantly laughed and said, "Too weak. If this is all your strength, then today will be your day of doom. I will show you how powerful the Nguyen Anke really is." Then he immediately shouted, releasing a dazzling beam of light from his mouth. Smoke began to rise along with that beam of light. Everyone on the Hui, the insect side, had already collapsed. They fell helplessly from above but could do nothing. As soon as he landed on the ground, Hunian struggled to get up and said, "There's no other way. The gap between Kim and K and Nguyen Anke is too great." The Demon King grew increasingly delighted. He arrogantly challenged, "Is there anyone else who wants to resist? Sit still and wait to die." Just then, it noticed from afar a figure shouting. Quan Lam tried to yell loudly, "Hey, you stupid bird, come back here. Don't look around aimlessly, I'm talking to you." Seeing this, it angrily hissed smoke in response. "You damn old man, you really don't want to live anymore, do you? How dare you insult me?" Quan Lam, fearless of heaven or earth, grabbed a weapon and argued face to face with it. "I, young master, will wait for you here, you stupid bird. If you're not convinced, come fight me. If you don't come, then you are my subordinate." In his mind, he silently thought it was fortunate to have discovered this in time. Previously, in the old man's memories, he had seen a speaker in the house that could be activated using spirit stones. Otherwise, it would have been over. Challenged like this, the Demon King began to get angry. It bristled its fur and said, "In my entire life, I have never met anyone so arrogant. No, today, I have met you." Seeing this scene, Hunian seemed to recognize Quan Lam. He said in surprise, "That is Master Deep Deep." Thian Tui also replied, "Oh my god, is that the legendary Fio Mu Fong from the past?" CTR said doubtfully, "He has withdrawn from the world for decades, so how did he suddenly appear here?" Hunian replied, "He probably wants to contribute a little, but unfortunately, he was assassinated by someone back then. His cultivation was completely destroyed, and he became a cripple." The Demon King at this moment also realized his identity, and laughed loudly in mockery. "So Dip Quan Lam actually dares to mock the Thanbang King. Isn't he just seeking death? It turns out he is the old useless man from decades ago." Quan Lam trembled and shouted loudly, "I Tone, don't even need cultivation to kill you and make you into roasted quail. If you have the guts, come here and accept death." The system once again announced. His eyes showed exhaustion, sweat pouring down his face. Quan Lam thought, why does this stupid bird keep jumping like that, saying so many useless words? If he doesn't fight me, I will die. Time gradually passed. 10, 9, 8. He thought, save me, hurry, hurry. At that exact moment, the Demon King began to release a powerful energy. He arrogantly said, "If you want to seek death like this, I will reduce you to dust." That beam of light quickly rushed toward Quan Lam. He silently rejoiced, thinking, great, it has finally arrived. His eyes suddenly widened, his pupils displaying strange patterns. Within the mystical smoke, the system appeared and announced, measurement detected the host was attacked by the enemy at the early stage of Nian An. Now activating the passive effect. The stronger the opponent, the stronger you become. Receiving cultivation of Nian An mid-stage, a red aura surrounded Quan Lam. His face seemed to have become younger. Quan Lam raised his hand and looked at it, unable to help but wonder, "Is this Guin An Ke?" The system responded, "Of course, our system here is very professional." To prove this statement, the system activated its power, causing the energy source of the Demon King to be blocked, unable to rush towards him. Seeing such a scene, the Demon King exclaimed in astonishment, "What kind of professionalism is this?" The aura of Quan Lam quickly made the Huin, the insect, clearly feel the pressure. The 9-year-old suddenly exclaimed, "Such a terrifying aura, could it be Thian Tuit's retaliation?" Doubtfully, he wondered if his junior brother Deep was still alive. At this moment, Quan Lam had fully activated the system, causing him to return to his youthful form. He raised his hand to a lotus flower, surrounded by flames that immediately appeared there. Quan Lam calmly said, "This is the true strength of the Guin An stage. No wonder it is the top combat power of the human realm, truly terrifying." The Demon King turned pale, trembling as he said, You are also at the Guin An stage?" He thought to himself that his cultivation might even be higher than his own. The people of the Huayin Thian sect gaped in astonishment, exclaiming, "How can this be? How could junior brother Deep have reached the powerful Nian An stage?" It turns out those years of downfall were actually to hide from others. Outwardly, he appeared as an ordinary mortal, but in reality, he had silently broken through to the Guin An realm. Junior brother Deep turned out to be a deceiver. Thian Tuyetnu couldn't believe her eyes and said in shock, "Junior brother Diep?" Then Duke Tru also exclaimed in surprise, "That is Nguyen An Can." It's unexpected that throughout Hongqiao there are not many people like him. Yet the result is that our Huyan Thean sect has produced one. Witnessing the overwhelming power of the demon king Quan Lam, he immediately clasped his hands and earnestly pleaded, "Fellow Taoist, the recent incident was just a misunderstanding. I have decided to resolve the conflict with your esteemed sect later and will come to formally join your sect when there is time." Quan Lam responded indifferently. "You destroyed the foundation of the Huyan Thean sect and slaughtered countless disciples of my sect, yet you tell me this is a misunderstanding?" At this moment, the system once again displayed a notification. Congratulations to the user for reaching cultivation for the first time and receiving a random reward skill from the system. Great Wilderness Prison Heaven Finger. Quan Lam laughed arrogantly, thinking, "Isn't this the technique of Little Lamb too?" Then he raised his hand, preparing to unleash his power. Quan Lam continued, "I will wipe out your entire clan and massacre your sect. After it's done, I'll tell you that all of this was just a misunderstanding I accidentally caused. Do you believe that?" The Demon King's eyes widened, seeming extremely angry. He shouted furiously, "Your cultivation is slightly deeper than mine, but the difference is not great. Do you really want to fight to the death with me?" Hearing that, he coldly pointed forward and said, "If you do not offend me, I will not offend you. But if anyone offends me, I will definitely take revenge. Moreover, you, a kind of demon like you, have killed countless humans, so dying is not even regrettable." At this moment, the Demon King Tioveng exploded with emotion, unleashing all his power and shouting, "It was you humans who forced me. Even if I have to burn all my internal core, I will drag you down with me." Not willing to be at a disadvantage, Quan Lam immediately pointed his hand to the sky, preparing to unleash a huge source of power. He only pointed, unaware of his own limits. A loud explosion shot straight down to the ground, followed by a thick cloud of smoke, the great wilderness-piercing heaven strike. Seeing this, the Demon King gaped in shock, unable to utter a word. Just as the power source nearly reached him, the Demon King panicked and was too scared to launch any counterattack. He weakly shouted, Wait, Deep Quan Lam, this is a gift from my wife to you. I don't even need my own life anymore. I beg you, I have only just entered the Origin Shadow Realm. I am not ready to die yet." Without wasting any more time, Quan Lam immediately unleashed that enormous power straight down to the ground, causing a very deep crater. That power shot fiercely toward the Demon King, making it seem as if he had lost all hope of survival. White smoke began to rise layer by layer from the ground, which was billowing thick smoke. The Demon King's body was no longer intact. He had been completely defeated by Quan Lam. Faced with such a situation, the underlings of the Demon King began to panic and flee in terror. They shouted loudly, "The Great King is dead. Let's run away quickly." Quan Lam seemed unwilling to spare them. He stretched out his hand forward and said with a smile, "Want to run?" Immediately, that hand grew enormous, enveloping the entire sky and snatching away their fragile chance of survival. After completely eliminating them, Quan Lam returned with a satisfied smile and said, "Those rotten birds will no longer dare to bother the Huyan Thean sect." Huyan immediately clasped his hands sincerely and said, "Brother Dip, this time we were truly lucky to have you." He forced a smile and continued, "I apologize. I used to think your cultivation was completely ruined and collapsed, but I never expected that you have now broken through to the original core." The sect leader of Thianhung Peak of Huyan Thean sect, To Thian Tweed, stroked his hair and happily said to Quan Lam, "What are you talking about?" Looking at Brother Deep's demeanor, how could he be completely ruined? The sect leader of the Sword Storage Peak of Huyan Thean sect, Triu CTR, also spoke enthusiastically, "That's right. Brother Deep is humble by nature, which is why he doesn't show off but quietly protects the sect." Hearing such praise, Quan Lam also breathed a sigh of relief. He thought to himself, "This guy is something, really knows how to imagine things. But that's good, it saves me the headache of having to explain." Suddenly, a voice rang out. Reporting to the sect leader, a major crisis has occurred. Someone from the Huyan Thean sect, supporting a severely injured person, rushed over in panic and said, "The Feng Loi sect suddenly came to seize the spiritual minerals and spiritual veins of our sect. The disciples guarding them died tragically. Hearing this, Hunin was extremely alarmed. He exclaimed, "That can't be true. The Fong Loi sect usually has very good relations with us, so why would they dare to be so bold this time?" He angrily continued, "Without the spiritual veins to cultivate, this is no different from cutting off our path to immortality, pushing us to the brink of death." Then Hunin said to Quan Lam, "Brother Diep, I am preparing to lead the disciples to reclaim our resources. I wonder if you agree." His face darkened, eyes filled with killing intent as he pondered. The Fong Loi sect was one of the 6 great sects in Hoangchao, and there had been many conflicts before, but they were still controlled within limits. However, this time their invasion clearly involved using the power of the demon clan to infiltrate. It was truly extremely sinister. Suddenly, the system announced the activation of a check-in mission. Please complete the check-in at the Fong Loi sect headquarters to receive unimaginable rewards. Quan Lam exclaimed in surprise. Another mission? Anyway, if I can meet a strong opponent, it's just right to kill them on their turf and take the initiative. Then he confidently agreed. You all do your work, while I will head straight to Fong Loi sect to eliminate the root cause for everyone. Hearing that, Hunen was amazed, gave a thumbs up in admiration, and said, "Well done, junior brother Dip, you really have incredible guts." Finishing his words, Quan Lam leapt into the air, not forgetting to say goodbye. "Everyone, keep it up, I'm going ahead." Seeing this, Hunin couldn't help but sigh. How many years has it been since Huayan Thian sect was this strong? Si Tar quickly replied, "Sect master, we have never been this strong before. With Deep Fong as our leader, we can become the top sect among the 6 great sects in Hoangchao." At Feng Tuit sect, a henchman at this moment was smirking smugly and said, "I never expected things to go so smoothly. After delivering the Demon King to Huiyan Thian sect, we conveniently seized all their spiritual veins." He continued laughing, "This way, we can develop into the #1 sect in Hoangchou. But won't that Demon King target us?" Another man arrogantly replied, "What's there to fear? Don't you know that today Fong Loi sect invited a great figure from V Homon? With him here, there won't be any problems." The scene inside the court of Fong Tui Tes sect appeared, as if an important meeting was taking place here. Sect leader of the Wind and Thunder sect, Tran Van Hai, smiled broadly and spoke, "Old Mo, I heard that my son Tran Q performed exceptionally well at the Wu Hoa Gate, and has been personally accepted as a disciple by some revered master. Is this true?" The person sitting beside him, Old Mo, appeared very calm and coldly replied, "Sect leader Tran, I hurried here from Thanchao precisely because of this matter. Kwai Song Tu has been highly regarded by the venerable Chu Duong, who has passed on the supreme Taoist techniques to him. His future prospects will surely be boundless." Hearing this, Van Hai became extremely excited, and happily said, "That's great. So my son has a chance to become an immortal." The attendant beside him also chimed in, "Sect leader, this is truly something to celebrate." Then Old Mo took out a box and placed it in front of him, saying, "This is a superior Hoa-on pill, which the noble young master asked me to deliver to the sect leader." Van Hai was astonished and jumped up, exclaiming, "A Hoa-on pill?" The official below could not help but admire and said, "Congratulations, sect leader. With this medicinal pill's support, you will surely break through to become a prime cultivator." Holding the box containing the Hoa-on pill in his hand, Van Hai revealed a sinister smile. He laughed loudly. "My son has ambition. Today is truly a double celebration." Then he turned and continued, "Ah, right, Old Mo, about that Demon King." Before he could finish speaking, Old Mo immediately responded, "I will handle it for you without any trouble." Van Hai was even more delighted and eagerly said, "That's great, Lord H. You've worked hard. If it weren't for Elder Messi revealing the realm of the Demon King this time, our Fong Loi sect would have almost lost the chance to seize the resources from the Hoin Thian sect." Suddenly, a loud explosion came from outside, causing the door in the room to burst open with a bang. Dust and smoke poured in as someone broke through the layers of formation and entered inside. Quan Loi had now flown to the place. He crossed his arms, stood high above, and looked down saying, Is this really the Feng Loi sect? Vien Hai angrily shouted. Whoever you are you tired of living to dare storm into the main hall of our Feng Loi sect? Quan Lam lightly smiled with contempt. He crossed his arms and stood proudly, saying, I am Deep Quan Lam. I have come in to kill the Loi Tong and all of you. The people of Feng Loi sect were terrified as they realized something. This aura was that of the Nguyen An realm. The system appeared with a notification. Check-in at Feng Loi sect complete. Congratulations to the user for receiving the Demon King seal and the Great Void technique. He happily gave a thumbs up and said, Another familiar skill, very good. Standing before Quan Lam, Ven Hai couldn't help but be suspicious. This guy is supposedly a Nian An cultivator of Feng Loi sect. Why would he offend such a person? But why does his name sound so familiar? He suddenly spoke up, Dear fellow cultivator, may I ask what brings you to our Feng Loi sect? Quan Lam's gaze gradually turned sharp and cold as he responded, Pretending to be stupid? Didn't you clearly hear my name? I am Deep Quan Lam, the leader of the Huin Thean sect of the Fiu Mu sect. You all conspired with the Demon King to invade the territory of my Huin Thean sect, committing a heinous crime. Today, the Feng Loi sect, you no longer need to exist. At this moment, Vian Hai realized and exclaimed in panic, Dip Quan Lam? So it was you. But weren't you ambushed and lost all your cultivation? How could you have reached the Guian An realm? In his mind, he thought further. His appearance here meant that the Thonbong Demon King had been killed. The damnable Huin Thean sect is truly hiding deep. Then he anxiously turned to Elder Masi and pointed toward Quan Lam to imply what he meant, saying, Elder Masi, do you see the situation now? Vian Hai thought to himself that fortunately, Elder Masi was here. Even if it was the Nguyen An stage, it would still be like an egg facing a rock. Elder Maki was now furious, his eyes red as he glared and said, You brat with that name, quickly kneel down and cut off both your hands, then I might spare your miserable life. Before I change my mind. Hearing this, Quan Lam pulled his ear with a look of contempt, and calmly said, This old man, who does he think he is to demand I give him face? Elder Mixi frowned angrily and said, Arrogant. Then he stood up, radiating an extremely powerful murderous aura. That source of power immediately shot straight toward Quan Lam, who was standing proudly. The people of the Feng Lei sect were surprised and exclaimed, The aura of the transformation spirit realm is truly terrifying. If there is a powerful expert of the transformation spirit realm here, then that Ye Junlin from the Xuantian sect is surely doomed to die. Seeing this, Van Hai smiled even more fiercely. He pointed directly at Junlin and challenged, Ye Junlin didn't manage to take your life back then, but today you won't escape. After you die, the Xuantian sect will have no support. Won't it be easy for me to seize control? Hurry up and kneel down to beg Elder Mok for mercy. Maybe you can still be spared. Junlin's eyes widened, his pupils gradually turning red. He smiled wickedly, thinking to himself, Transformation spirit, huh? Fine, very fine. At the same time, at the spiritual vein of the Xuantian sect, Hu Nian and others were standing before the henchmen from the Feng Lei sect, who suddenly collapsed to the ground. Hu Nian immediately panicked and exclaimed, What? Elder Vu Hoamon is at the Feng Lei sect? The henchman smiled fiercely. He trembled as he propped himself up on his sword and said proudly, Do you think that without the protection of Vu Hoamon, we would dare to openly invade your Xuantian sect along with those fiends? This time, the elder came to the Feng Lei sect because the sect leader joined Hoamon in Thanchao many years ago. Due to his outstanding talent and successful cultivation, he is highly regarded by Vu Hoamon. Although still trembling, he continued to laugh loudly in defiance. Although I don't know how you will deal with that vicious brat, I advise you to stop now. Perhaps later we can still let you live and make you servants for the Feng Loi sect. A sword instantly flashed by. Hunian immediately eliminated the talkative henchman of the Feng Loi sect. He hurriedly told everyone, There's no more time, we must quickly go to the Feng Loi sect to rescue Master Diep Fong. Then he quickly leapt into the air. Behind, Thien Tuyet wondered if Master Diep Fong could handle Vu Hoa Monduk Tru, then replied, Impossible. Elder Truong of Vu Hoamon is at least a transformed spirit cultivator, and Gwinon in front of him is just like hitting a rock. Hunian's face was extremely panicked as he anxiously said, "Even if I have to risk my life, I must beg Vu Hoamon to spare Master Diep Fong. He is the hope of our Huyen Thian sect. Brother, don't do anything foolish." At this moment, on the side of the main hall of the Fong Loi sect, Quan Lam smiled with malice. This only made the people on the Fong Loi sect side feel even more ridiculous. Van Hai smugly exclaimed, "About to die and still able to laugh. This kid must have been scared silly by Elder Mok's transformed spirit realm. With his strength, I doubt he's even worthy of being Elder Mok's shoe." Old Mok spoke challengingly. "A petty monk from a small town in Hoangzhou like you dares to be so insolent in front of me. Your Huyen Thian sect is nothing more than the nest of ants. In the eyes of Vu Hoamon, it's just dust that can be wiped away at any time, and you are nothing more than a blade of grass, not worth mentioning." Then he angrily clenched his fists and shouted loudly, "However, because you have angered me, now even if you kneel down and apologize like a dog, I will still kill all of Huyen Thian sect." Quan Lam was not afraid at all. He stood proudly, pointed directly at him, and laughed, come on, then quickly kill me, don't waste any more words." He clenched both hands confidently and said, Wathen Realm, what the hell is that? If you have the skill, let's duel. Whoever runs is the junior." Immediately, Old Mok unleashed a terrifying energy shaped like a giant hand rushing toward him, seeking death. Quan Lam remained calm and composed, standing firm to endure his attack. Witnessing this scene, Van Hai secretly laughed to himself, "Die, Diep Quan Lam, and Huyen Thian sect will still be a trophy in the pocket of our Fong Loi sect." At that moment, the system activated a notification, detected the host being attacked by an enemy at the late Huathan realm. Currently activating passive effect. The stronger the opponent, the stronger the effect. Receiving peak Huathan realm cultivation, Quan Lam's eyes blazed dangerously. An incredibly terrifying energy immediately radiated around him. Quan Lam pointed straight up to the sky and said, "Is this all the skill of the transformation god realm?" His power immediately overwhelmed, making Mixi Lao's energy unable to touch even a single hair on Quan Lam. Seeing this, he panicked and exclaimed, "Why are you like this? You are from the transformation god realm, so why is it like this? Just a small Huyen Thian sect, yet it has a powerful transformation god realm expert guarding it." Van Hai anxiously spoke. "The Huyen Thian sect is truly despicable, yet it hides such a move." McClown was still surprised and exclaimed, "How can there be someone in the poor Hoangzhou region who has cultivated to the transformation god realm, moreover to the peak of the transformation god realm? In Hoangzhou, Nguyenan has already become the founding ancestor who helped a sect survive firmly for 1,000 years without falling, but a transformation god realm expert has never appeared. Furthermore, this kid is so young and has already reached this realm. How is that possible?" The people of Fong Loi sect were stunned and speechless upon hearing this. VNI anxiously urged, "Old Meek, what should we do now? You must save the Fong Loi sect." He immediately reassured, "Why panic? Don't forget, I come from Thansho Wei Huamon. How could he possibly imagine the methods of the immortal family that I possess?" Quan Lam, full of contempt, raised a friendly finger toward him in challenge and said, "Old man, do you really think your cultivation method is superior to mine?" A purple smoke immediately appeared. Elder Max stretched his hand forward in panic and said, "The absurd martial arts of small sects like yours are worlds apart from those of our V Hoamon." Then he clasped his hands, preparing to launch a powerful attack. The purple smoke he created quickly surrounded the main hall. Elder Misi said, "Let me broaden your horizons and show you a top-tier Earth-grade body technique." Immediately, that source of demonic energy formed huge hands rushing toward Quan Lam Thai, Take Thung Muktrung. The energy source drew closer and closer, but he remained extremely calm as he prepared to receive the attack. That terrifying power made the Feng Lei divine people exclaim in astonishment. Indeed, V. Huamon's initial strike is an earth-grade martial art. From mortal grade, spirit grade, refined grade, earth grade, to heavenly grade, and even the supreme grade in Huang Chao, spirit grade can already serve as a sect's treasured artifact. What a vast difference this is. Elder Max laughed triumphantly and said, "Kid, dying at my hands would be an honor for a low-tier sect cultivator like you." Quan Lam was not intimidated. He calmly smiled coldly and said, "Just a cat, yet you dare to dance in front of me to deceive me?" Saying that, he raised his hand, channeling demonic energy to prepare to counter the previous attack. Quan Lam's face was full of excitement as he shouted, "King's Seal." Immediately, the energy transformed into a giant hand ready to counter the attack. That huge hand gradually took the shape of a giant figure, looking extremely powerful, standing behind Quan Lam. Witnessing this scene, Vien Hai and his henchmen couldn't help but panic and exclaim, "What is this? What level of martial art is this? It's not even at the heavenly grade or honored grade." Quan Lam smiled triumphantly and raised his hand forward. The giant hand he commanded, pressing the marvelous heaven and earth technique, immediately lunged forward. That overwhelming large hand quickly charged toward the small power of Elder Maxi Tuan, the Supreme. Elder Mac gaped in astonishment. Speechless. Faced with that great power, his shield gradually became ineffective and useless. Seeing he could no longer resist, he shouted fearfully, "Wait, stop. For the sake of V Hoa Mon, I beg you, Elder, spare my life." Quan Lam's face remained expressionless as he sneered, "What the hell is V Hoa Mon? If people don't offend me, I don't offend them, but if they offend me, I will definitely punish them. If it dares to come to me, I dare to destroy it." His hand still radiated demonic power. Elder Maxi trembled and threatened, but it was insignificant. "If I die here, your sect will surely face disaster and extinction. Your face will be even more miserable as the instigator." Then he lowered his hand to the ground and shouted loudly, "You're about to die and still dare to threaten? Damn it, die." That enormous source of demonic power quickly surged toward him and completely annihilated him. Seeing the situation had reversed, Vien Hai hesitated, thinking of a way to escape, then cowardly knelt down and begged, "Dip Thun Quan, it's all a misunderstanding. Our Feng Loi sect is willing to submit and serve you as your servant." The henchmen in the sect of the gate successively knelt down begging Quan Lam, "Yes, yes, yes, we are all willing to serve the Divine General as your vassals and horses." Seeing this, the Divine General laughed scornfully and said, "Even to be lackeys for this king, you are worthy." Vien Hai, sweating profusely all over his face, gritted his teeth and said, "Divine General, my son Tren Kyo, who has attained the status of immortal disciple, is currently a direct disciple of the honored V Hoa sect. Can you really afford to offend us? Don't harm yourself." Hearing this, Quan Lam's face suddenly became more dangerous than ever. He smiled and thought, "Oh, an immortal disciple, huh?" He raised his hand forward and continued, "Just as well, I still stand by my words. If you offend me, I will definitely punish you. This time, it is the Feng Loi sect that has infringed upon the Huiying Thien sect first. I have already said it. Today, you will no longer exist. Words spoken, actions taken." Having finished speaking, he immediately unleashed a massive power that completely annihilated the people of the Feng Loi sect. The entire main hall of the Feng Loi sect was instantly destroyed. Vien Hai's last words were, "This humiliation must be washed away with blood. Today, my son will definitely repay it 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold." The box containing the flower elixir dropped to the ground. Quan Lam stood on the rubble, arms crossed, smiling and said, "Then I will look forward to your immortal disciple's son coming here to give me some experience." Suddenly, he noticed something above. "Is that he, Hu Nian?" At this moment, he, along with Thien Tui, T, and CTR, had flown to Feng Loi sect. Hu Nian said anxiously, "That's great, Brother Deep is still here." He appeared innocent, and said, "Yes, if I weren't here, where else could I be? Didn't I say I would come to eliminate Feng Loi sect?" Immediately, Hu Nian tightly grasped Quan Lam's hand, anxiously pulling him along while running and saying, "Consider yourself lucky. I heard that Elder V Huamon has arrived, but perhaps by chance he wasn't here, which allowed you to escape a disaster. Now, let's go quickly, there's still time. Quan Lam quickly withdrew his hand and smiled triumphantly, saying, "Are you talking about that elder? I've already defeated him." Hearing this, Hu Nian was astonished and said, "What? You actually eliminated Elder Vihoamon? Isn't he a cultivator at the Huathan realm?" Thean Tweed also responded excitedly, "Brother, see, I told you. Sect leader Dip Fong's true strength is extraordinary. He can handle things on his own." Hu Nian, as if unable to believe it, immediately asked again, "How is this possible? Brother Deep can defeat someone at the Huathan realm?" He happily placed his hand on his shoulder and replied, "Actually, I am also at the Huathan realm." Enough talk. Let's quickly sweep through Fong Loi's sect and replenish our resources. Hu Nian immediately agreed. He was amazed and thought to himself that Brother Dip, really being at the Huathan realm, was truly unbelievable. CTR stepped forward holding a box containing a Hoa On Dan pill and smiled, saying, "Sect leader Deep Fong, I have discovered a Nguyen On Dan pill, which is probably the elixir of V. Huamon." Quan Lam reached out his hand towards Hu Nian and said, "Let's have the sect leader use this Vien Nguyen On Dan. Breaking through early to Nguyen On Huan, Thean's sect will make it a bit stronger." Hu Nian also replied, "Thank you, Junior Brother Deep, for your help." Suddenly, the system announced that it detected someone suitable to become a disciple within a radius of 100 miles, suspected to be the cult leader of the demonic sect at the true immortal rank. Do you want to go recruit them as a disciple? Completing this will grant an unimaginably great reward. This surprised Quan Lam, who opened his eyes wide. He clenched his palm excitedly, thinking, "Great, there's a new mission, and it's to recruit a disciple. The other party is the cult leader of the demonic sect at the true immortal rank. If I go and rely on the golden finger, won't I directly become an immortal? At that time, even Huang Cho and Thang Cho would be unbeatable." Hu Nian stood watching Quan Lam's figure gradually walk away, his heart full of thoughts. The Entwite spoke with doubt. "Although thanks to Deep Fong, the sect leader, we managed to eliminate Fong Loi's sect, we have offended V Hoamon. Will there still be a place for the entire eastern region, and even Huin, Thean's sect to survive?" Hu Nian's face was full of worry as he replied, "That's right. Wei Huamon is an immensely powerful force. They are not a sect we or Huin, Thean's sect, can confront." Then he called out, "Junior Brother Dip, listen to this," and turned around. Hu Nian said, "You have an extraordinary talent that absolutely cannot be buried here. It's better to leave the eastern region. Later, if Vu Huamon comes to seek revenge, at worst we die. But as long as you live, the Huyen Thean sect still has a chance to continue." Duck True also happily agreed with that opinion. He said, "The sect leader is absolutely right, and so is Thean Tuyet." She smiled and replied, "That's right. Sect leader Diep Fong is an outstanding and talented person. It would be truly regrettable if he died here." Everyone in the sect also happily responded in agreement. Indeed, sect leader Diep Fong will surely carry our hopes and open a new world, so that the reputation of Huyen Thean's sect will once again resonate throughout the four directions. We will stand firm here even if it is the last moment, and absolutely will not retreat. Sect leader Diep Fong, please rest assured and fully display your talents." Quan Lam was astonished and speechless before everyone's sincerity. He smiled quietly, thinking that this sect truly has a wonderful power of unity. Then he placed his hand on his chest and said clearly, "Thank you all for valuing me. But rest assured, if I dare to take action, I have definitely thought carefully about the consequences. Leave the matters ahead to me. I will handle them properly." Quan Lam laughed loudly and placed his hand on Hu Nian's shoulder. The latter, who was stunned, gave an awkward smile. Quan Lam said, "I leave this place in the sect leader's hands. Start cleaning up. I have some important matters and must leave first." He then took his leave. As soon as he finished speaking, the boy jumped and vanished in a cloud of dust, leaving Hu Nian standing still, thinking. This junior disciple Deep always kills, and then with a flick of his sleeve, he leaves without even a trace of a cloud. In the bamboo forest of a figure dressed in red quickly darted through the bamboo. A young man with an outstanding appearance named Thean Deep seemed to be running away from something when a voice rang out, "Beauty, don't run so that this Taoist can have some fun," he shouted angrily. "Get lost. How many times do I have to say it? I am a man, a man." From behind, a lecherous old man was chasing after him, sneering in a despicable way. "Such a beautiful young lady, how could you be a man? Don't fool this old man anymore. It's truly like a tiger fallen to the plains being bullied by dogs. Just think about it. I was once the leader of the demonic sect that shook Central Region. The demonic sect of Baihe was founded from the realm of true immortals, with mighty strength ruling over 100,000 nations and billions of followers worshipping it." Thean Deep could not hide his frustration, gritting his teeth and crying silently, thinking to himself, who would have thought that enemy had allied with many holy forces to launch a large-scale siege against my demonic sect of Baihe? I could only recklessly use up all my energy and desperately break out of the encirclement to escape into this desolate land. Unexpectedly, now I have fallen into such a tragic situation. The old man jumped up from behind, raising his hand to unleash a great source of power. He sneered mockingly, "Beauty, if you don't run quickly, my sect will catch you soon." The bamboo arrow shot forward with incredible speed from his power. Thean Deep refused to be at a disadvantage. He also raised his hand forward, using magic power to counter the scarlet flame shield. The bamboo stalks rushed at him one after another, although Thean Deep used his strength to fight back. Seeing this, he immediately leapt out toward the dust and smoke to evade the attack. From the bamboo thicket, Thean Deep propped himself against a bamboo stalk, coughing harshly from exerting too much strength. The old man was astonished and secretly thought, someone with only bamboo core cultivation could actually resist my 5th stage golden core after the 9 refinements. Immediately, he unleashed another powerful move toward Thean Deep. The old man thought to himself, could this be a heavenly bridge disciple from some major sect out for a stroll? No need to care. Just attack first, and deal with it later. A small nail containing his power was instantly driven straight into the ground. Now, surrounding Thean Deep were these nails forming a circle of magical power, making it impossible for him to escape. The old man jumped down from above, laughing loudly. "Beauty, it's over now. Come on. Obediently raise your hands and surrender." Thean Deep, powerless, could only curse silently in his heart. "Damn old dog." The old man stepped forward, grabbed Thean Deep's face, and said, "Beauty, don't resist anymore. My patience has limits, so be obedient for a moment." Thean Deep's face darkened with anger immediately. He tore open his clothes to reveal his muscular body and shouted angrily, "Damn your ancestors, open your dog's eyes wide and see clearly that I am a man. A man." Silence enveloped the entire space for a long moment. The old man gaped in shock, unable to believe his eyes, and exclaimed, "You really are a man? Then wasn't I chasing you for nothing?" Thean Deep annoyedly pulled his clothes back on and said, "See clearly now, I am also a man like you, so stop following me." He raised his hand and said, "Wait a moment." He smiled awkwardly and said, "Actually, being a man isn't entirely off limits." Hearing that, Thean Deep's anger exploded even more. He clasped his hands to cast a spell. "Get lost. You are truly despicable, not even sparing a man. Even if I had to burn my own inner core, I would never submit." The fierce flames from his magic surprised the old man, who exclaimed, "What level of magic is this? How can someone at the bamboo foundation stage create such a large formation?" His anger had reached its peak, his eyes full of hatred. Thean Deep shouted loudly, "You dog! You have completely angered me now." Then he used magic to launch an attack at the old man, saying, "Go to hell." Just as the source of power approached him, the old man panicked and shouted, Wait, let's talk this through slowly." Before he could finish speaking, the fire of anger within the boy had completely defeated him. To pay the price for that excessive teasing, he was completely burned by the flames, unable to resist, and could only scream in despair. Right after using that immense power, he collapsed to the ground from exhaustion. Thean Deep wearily said, "This is what you brought upon yourself." Standing before the charred body of the old man, he kept complaining, "Running into something like this is really unlucky. The inner core is almost shattered. I must quickly find a place to recuperate, and then continue refining. Suddenly a voice rang out. That demon bastard's death was not in vain. You indeed have a significant background. The Endiep immediately panicked and quickly turned around. He stood up, looked around in the bamboo forest, and shouted loudly, "Who's there?" A step slowly approached as an old man with a cane appeared from the white mist, and calmly said, "Young friend, don't overthink it. I just happened to pass by and am not an accomplice of that demon corpse. Besides, I have a normal sexual orientation, so you can rest assured." Hearing this, he seemed somewhat reassured, and immediately clasped his hands, saying, "That's good. If that's the case, then fellow cultivator, if fate allows, we shall meet again. Farewell." Suddenly, the old man quickly advanced toward Thiendeep, catching him off guard and leaving him no time to react. He gave a strange smile and said, "But compared to the previous person, I find myself even more interested in the secret you carry." The old man immediately used his strength to rush towards the boy and shouted loudly, "Let me see what is inside your head that allows you to possess such powerful divine abilities." This angered Thiendeep, who irritably said, "This bald old man is taking advantage of someone in danger, which will not end well for him." However, now he had completely exhausted all his strength and no longer had the energy to resist. Thiendeep fell down, supporting himself with his hands on the ground, worriedly thinking, "Could it be that my path of cultivation ends here? I am not willing, I am not willing." At that moment, the rows of bamboo swayed violently as if something had just passed through. A figure radiating great power stood high above, witnessing the argument below between Thiendeep and the old man. He was startled as if realizing something and shouted, "Is there some mistake with the spirit transformation? How could there be a spirit transformation warrior in such a small wild pearl region?" Quan Lam appeared just in time, his expression not very pleased as he stared intently at them. The old man immediately turned his vehicle, showing cowardice, pointed at Thiendeep and said, "Esteemed senior, please show mercy. He belongs to my lord. Leave here immediately." Before he could finish speaking, Quan Lam immediately pointed straight ahead, releasing his power. He coldly replied, "A petty person like you does not deserve to continue living." Then the source of power quickly pierced through the old man's heart, leaving him no time to react. Seeing this, Thiendeep was extremely shocked. He panicked, thinking that after losing a single elixir, a transformed deity appeared. Could it be that today, he really could not escape this calamity? Junlam looked suspicious and said, "Which Gongzi, tell me, is this the cult leader of the demon sect or a true immortal rank? Isn't he just a weak bamboo foundation stage? Are you trying to deceive me?" The system immediately responded, "System here, not deceiving you. This person was indeed the cult leader of the demon sect at CNH Chan Mountain. Only his cultivation has declined. He has opened a killing intent on the sect leader." Looking at Thiendeep, who was seriously injured, information about him immediately appeared. Name: Hing Thiendeep. Male, innate talent of celestial grade. Spiritual root of fire element. Injured. Identity: formerly the cult leader of the fire-worshipping sect, a cultivator who transcended tribulation to become an immortal of the CNA Chan immortal realm. Cultivation at early bamboo foundation stage. Junlam was astonished, smiling secretly and thinking, "It's true, this person is really a man." He immediately approached closely to examine Thiendeep, then smiled secretly, thinking that with such smooth white skin, delicate features, and flowing long hair, any girl looking at him would feel ashamed for not measuring up. Anyone would mistake his gender. Seeing this, Thiendeep was frightened, thinking that this person looked at him that way. Could it be that he also likes men? His face darkened as he looked at Junlam, but Junlam still smiled secretly, thinking that although he was only at the bamboo foundation stage, with his talent and previous experience, returning to his former peak would certainly be easier. Taking him as a disciple would definitely not be a loss. Then he reached out his hand forward and smiled, saying, "I, the master, see that your appearance is unusual, a rare talent in immortal cultivation. From today, I have decided to accept you as my disciple. What do you think?" Hearing this, Thiendeep was startled and exclaimed, "What? You want to accept me as your disciple?" He couldn't help but wonder if the master had seen the secrets on his body and wanted to continue exploring. Indeed, whether it was a magical treasure or a destiny, it was not the kind of divine transformation that one could imagine in the wilderness like him. Thean Deep immediately darkened his face but smiled mysteriously. He thought to himself that with this level of cultivation, in the past, he wasn't even allowed to enter the outer sect of the Bai Ha, a demon sect. Just a divine transformation, and he wanted to be a master? What a fantasy. Quan Lumdung seemed to read Thean Deep's thoughts and gave a cold smile, saying, "Why do you look like that? It seems you are unwilling to be my disciple, right?" Thean Deep was surprised by Quan Lam's words. He thought to himself that although he was not worthy to be his master, his current cultivation was not strong enough to resist. As long as the Green Mountain remains, there is no fear of lacking firewood. When I restore my cultivation, I can become the master myself. Then he knelt down and bowed back to Quan Lam, saying, "Disciple Zthien pays respects to the master." Being accepted as a disciple by the master was the greatest honor in this disciple's life. In his heart he thought, "After all, it's just acting, so just play along until it's over." Thean Deep clenched his teeth in anger, thinking that there will be a time when I will definitely reclaim this humiliation. Quan Lam showed a satisfied and happy expression and said, "Good child, quickly stand up. From now on, master will call you Little Hong." Thean Deep thought, Little Hong." He angrily clenched his hands into fists, trembling as he suppressed his anger, and said in a gruff voice, "Yes, master." On the outside, Quan Lam was smiling happily, but deep inside he thought that this kid's fake sincerity was too obvious. But it didn't matter. After all, when I face a strong opponent, I will become stronger too. Why should I fear you betraying me? The system appeared and announced congratulations to the user for completing the disciple mission, awarding the Divine Skill Martial Art King method for automatic cultivation. Quan Lam was surprised and thought, automatic cultivation, so doesn't that mean you just need to lie down straight and become stronger? Congratulations to the user for receiving the Tang Tian Pass, which contains 108 controls and will gradually unlock as the user's realm improves. For now, it contains spiritual energy of the 3rd grade. Quan Lam seriously considered that in memory, all divine skill martial arts have cultivation stages: beginner, minor success, major success, perfection, and transformation. Each stage produces power and effects that can reach 10 times or even 100 times stronger. The system sequentially introduced the Celestial Burial Seal, which can bury the earth and all things. Anything can be buried and used to refine and transform any living creature, even up to the late stages. It can bury gods and all things. The second item is a book called the 3000 Flame Scripture and the Flame Origin Pill. The system introduced the discovery of the disciple's aptitude of the host. The system provides a free upgrade service package with rewards including the Fire Element Cultivation Method, the 3000 Flame Scripture. The reward also includes the Flame Origin Pill used to repair the Fire Element spiritual root and recreate an unparalleled foundation. The system once again announced that the task reward this time has ended and asked the host if they were satisfied. Junlin smiled secretly, thinking that the treasure rewarded by the system was so powerful it could even bury the heavenly Tao itself. He began to look forward to how terrifying the power of the burial celestial seal would be once his realm was elevated. He continued to immerse himself in his thoughts, smiling and thinking, this kind of reward truly reflects the system's attitude towards those who transmigrate to Wuxia. He excitedly thought further about how proud the disciple Min obtained would be if he possessed such an innate talent. Contrary to that joy, Thean Deep was boiling with anger, hating that he could not destroy Junlin. He cursed silently in his heart, just wait, I will have my revenge. Quan Lam immediately turned around to remind, you can't always be sulking and angry like that. Do you think I'm not worthy to be your master? Caught off guard, Thean Deep hastily denied it. He forced a smile and said, Master, you misunderstand. No matter what, I usually have this expression. He thought to himself, just a small transformed spirit, yet acting so high and mighty, even trying to teach me how to be a person. A book surrounded by flames immediately appeared in Quan Lum's hand. It seemed that if he didn't show you some tricks, you wouldn't accept him. This cultivation manual is the one you learned very well from when you became my disciple. On the surface, Theandeep happily clasped his hands and sincerely said, "Thank you, master." But deep inside, he sneered, thinking, "Let me see what kind of trash cultivation techniques a transformed spirit from a barbaric land can pull out to fool me." Then he held the book wrapped in flames and thought to himself, "Tam Thean Vmdim Kinha Torn Talisman Technique, and it dares to claim such a flashy name." The book was titled Tam Thean Vm Dim Kin. Suddenly, Theandeep's eyes widened in surprise as he thought, "This can't be." Only then did he realize the importance of this book. The Chaos Wrath Fire technique had once helped me attain the path to immortality. It was the top-tier fire element cultivation method in the central region. Theandeep turned pale and panicked, thinking that compared to the Tam Thean Vmdim Kin, this was simply rubbish. This Tam Thean Vmdim Kin completely shattered his understanding of fire-based cultivation methods. It absolutely possessed the level of a celestial grade, perhaps even the legendary saint grade. In the cultivation world, all techniques are divided into specific levels: mortal, spiritual, mysterious, earthly, heavenly, revered, celestial, and saint grades. Theandeep could not hide his astonishment about this book. He thought further that with the help of this technique, his strength would increase beyond imagination, and returning to the celestial realm would no longer satisfy him. Seeing such a reaction, Quan Lam sneered and said, "Judging by your expression, are you satisfied with the technique I have given you?" Theandeep turned around and smiled awkwardly, saying, "Thank you for the technique, Master Ni. It has brought considerable benefits." In his heart, he wondered how lucky this guy must be to encounter such a chance in this wilderness. Then Quan Lam placed a Nguyen Dan pill in front of him and said, "If you have comprehended the technique, I will give you an additional pill to support you further." Seeing this, Theandeep was shocked and couldn't believe his eyes, exclaiming, "This is a Nguyen Dan?" he asked in astonished joy. "All given to me." Theandeep silently thought to himself that for cultivators specializing in fire element techniques, the fire origin pill was simply a kind of immortal pill bestowed by the heavens. It could have an extremely powerful and precious effect to the extent that even immortals would fight over it. Seeing his expression like that, Quan Lam could only smile wryly and think, "So you are also sensible after all." Theandeep secretly glanced over at him, frowning in disbelief. How could a small transformed state possibly obtain these two things like that? Even at the peak of my own power, I never had the ability to acquire such things. Quan Lam quickly cut off that train of thought and asked, "Tu?